What is up, my friends? Welcome to Flippin' Bats. What a great weekend of baseball it has been. Great episode for you coming up. If you didn't check out John Smoltz on the last show, go do it. He'll be back again this week as well. But a lot of good things happened in the game of baseball this week. I'm excited for this episode because I'm going to talk about a team that I have not talked about enough yet, but I've been waiting for the right moment. We're going to do that today. So we're going to talk about the Seattle Mariners. We're going to talk top three AL MVPs right now, top three NL MVPs right now. We're going to go through this week. It's Monday. We're going to go through our power rankings. Big shakeups here. Going to talk all about that. Definitely have some moves that need to be discussed. We'll do that. A couple FanDuel best bets today as well. So this is going to be a fun episode. Remember, Flippin' Bats is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Bet baseball with me all season long on America's #1 sportsbook. I don't know if you guys remember. I maybe I've just been the one that forgot about this, but you guys remember Beat the Streak? It started like many years ago, and it's still a thing. Beat the Streak. You try and beat Joe DiMaggio's 56 game hit streak. They do it in the MLB app. You can pick one player, or you can double down and do two. But you pick one player a day. If they get a hit, your streak continues. I completely forgot about this. And literally, it was like Friday, I think. Friday, I remembered it. I started back up. I tweet about it every day now. I've got a hit every day since the beginning. I think I went Bobby Witt, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani for Sunday Night Baseball. All got a hit. So I'm at 3. I've been planning the party. June 28th will be day 57. That's when we all celebrate. I'm at 3 currently. Today's pick, I'm going to go with Mookie Betts against Sandy Alcantara. He's hitting like 500 against Sandy in his career, and Sandy's numbers have not been good this year. So I'm going to go Mookie Betts today to get our streak to 4. I don't know. Maybe I'm just the only one that forgot about Beat the Streak. I love this. Now I'm doing it every day. Streak's at 3 currently. 3 for 3 to start off. So yeah, we got that going. A good weekend of baseball. Congrats to Lance McCullers Jr., by the way. Lance is officially back on a mound. First time back on a mound in years. Started against the White Sox, so pumped to see him back out there. Honestly, it's a long journey for Lance. I like Lance a lot. What a long journey for him to get back to a major league mound. So congrats to him for getting back. All right, let's talk about the Mariners. I have been waiting to say this. I've seen the comments. I've seen what everybody says. I've seen social media. I've been waiting to say this. I am now ready to say that the Seattle Mariners are a good ball club. This team is legit. Got off to a 4-8 start. They're 16-5 since that 4-8 start. They've won 8 straight series. And then you start looking, and there's so much reason for optimism. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, both due back soon. Neither of them have been pitching. Both due back soon. Dylan Moore has been fantastic this year. He's been on the IL. He's coming back soon. So you have some guys coming back. Julio Rodriguez and Randy Arozarena, who you expect to be like your key offensive guys coming into the year, are both not hitting 220 yet. You know they will. You have to believe they're going to improve. Julio's already heating up a little bit. So there's room for optimism there. But regardless of any of that, regardless of the guys coming back, regardless of your stars you know are going to play better, the Seattle Mariners have a higher team WRC plus than the Los Angeles Dodgers. Higher WRC plus than the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's some cold, hard, factual numbers for you about the Seattle Mariners offense. And this is going to date back to August 1st of last year. Not just the beginning of this year, August 1st of last year. These are their AL rankings. Second in runs scored, second in home runs, second in stolen bases, second in walk rate, second in WRC plus. The Mariners won 21 of their final 34 games last year, and an offensive turnaround for them was a huge reason for that. Now, one thing I want to say is being second in the American League in any of these statistics over a long period of time, when you play at T-Mobile Park, is not something to look over. T-Mobile Park is not an offensive ballpark. T-Mobile Park is where offense goes to die. And these offensive numbers have been really good since August 1st and have continued into this year. So what's changed? What's the reason for the turnaround? Well, a couple things, but for me, the big one I point to is that in August of last year, Edgar Martinez was hired into his new role. He is the director of hitting strategy, senior director of hitting strategy for the Seattle Mariners. We all know Edgar Martinez, maybe the greatest DH of all time, maybe the greatest DH of all time, Edgar Martinez. Yeah, with the Mariners, you hire him into that role, and there's an immediate turnaround. The majority of this run that the offense has been on has been since Edgar Martinez took over that new role with the Mariners. That's not a coincidence, I promise you. Perhaps part of his talk with the team is, hey, we are striking out way too much. Way too many strikeouts coming out of this organization. Last year, they had the second most strikeouts in the history of Major League Baseball. 1,625 strikeouts last year, the second most in history. The year before that, they struck out a boatload of times too. The Mariners hold two of the top five most strikeouts by a team in the history of Major League Baseball, and they come in the last two seasons. Last year, obviously the second most of all time, and then the year before that, they're also in the top five all time. So this year, strikeout wise as a team, maybe nothing that jumps off the page at you. They're 13th in baseball this year in terms of strikeouts. That's a massive improvement from the worst of all time. You're putting the ball in play. Good things happen when you put the ball in play. Julio struck out a lot. Julio is so fast. Put the ball in play, good things will happen, and that's what we're seeing with this team. 5.47 runs per game on the road this season. That is the best in the American League. Notice everything I'm saying. I was so passionate about this Mariners team last year, heading into this year, because they are going to pitch the lights out and they are not going to be good enough offensively. That was my thought. This team will not hit enough this pitching. We are ruining this pitching run that they are possibly going to go on. Well, the pitching has been good. It's been fine. They have the 12th best ERA in baseball. That's nothing to write home about. You know it's going to get better. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries. Pitching, I love their pitching staff. That's the reason I thought the Mariners needed to do more in the offseason. I was wrong. This offense has been incredible. Cal Raleigh, big dumper, best slugging percentage on the road in all of baseball, a top slugging percentage in all of baseball as well. His on-base percentage is through the roof. He's slugging through the roof. This guy is becoming the best catcher in baseball right in front of our eyes. Does he do it the way that many traditionally think a baseball player should do offensively? No, he's not going to hit you 300, but he's up there in the league lead in homers. He's getting on base. He hits from both sides of the plate. He's got a ton of pop. Cal Raleigh behind the plate becoming one of the best catchers in the game of baseball, if not the best catcher in the game of baseball. And he just got absolutely paid by the Mariners. Love to see that as well. Jorge Polanco, 6 homers over the last 2 weeks. That's the most in baseball. Jorge Polanco. Remember, Jorge Polanco, before he signed with the Mariners, was a really good baseball player, coming off of a really good year. Brutal year last year. Well, this is a bounce back. He's bouncing back to be the player. Everything comes back to the mean, right? Is he the player that he was last year with the Mariners? No. He was always due for a bounce back. Now he's obviously this is more than just a bounce back. He's absolutely killing it while dealing with his injury, so he's really only hitting from the left side of the plate. Jorge Polanco has been fantastic. This team just gets on base, and anybody can hit the ball out of the park. Cal Raleigh can hit the ball out of the park. Julio, obviously, I think is an MVP caliber player, has struggled. But I'm just so impressed with this team offensively, and it's not lost on me how I talked about this team. I was wrong about the Seattle Mariners, and I've been wrong this entire year. And the reason I was hesitant to talk about them is just because I wanted to see more of this stretch. Now we're 30 plus games into the year, 30 plus games into the season. And Add that back to August 1 of last year, and this offense has been on an incredible stretch. I was wrong about this offense and wrong about this team. The Seattle Mariners have been fantastic this year. They pitch really well, they get on base, they've been hitting really well. And yeah, I just think this team has the ability. If you look at wherever you want to look at your percentages, FanDuel Sportsbook, they have the third best odds in the American League to make the playoffs. Fangraphs, they have the best odds in the American League to make the playoffs. This stretch isn't a fluke. You're 30 plus games in. John Smoltz says on this show all the time, it takes 30 games to know what a team is going to be. This year offensively, what are they? Well, they rank first in walks, third in homers, third in stolen bases, third in on-base percentage, seventh in RBIs, eighth in slugging, eighth in runs scored, second in on-base percentage behind the Yankees in the AL. They were 311 in on-base percentage last year. That's now 340. Just look, I know it's cliche, but this team struck out more than anybody in the history of baseball last year besides the Minnesota Twins from the year prior. Second most strikeouts in history. Put the ball in play. Good things happen. Right? And I'm not saying make contact against all odds because that's the way. No, I get the age of baseball we're in. You want to drive the ball with authority somewhere. We're not just, butt out swinging at anything and rolling over ground balls. That's not what you want. But put the ball in play more than you have and good things are going to happen. And now we've seen a 30 plus percentage increase in on base percentage this year. That's huge. Second in on base percentage behind the Yankees. Huge. Offensively, that's why this team has been good. We know they're going to pitch. We know by the end of the year they're going to be a top rotation in the game of baseball. They haven't been fully healthy yet, and here they are. I could not have been more wrong about the Seattle Mariners. I am pumped to have been wrong about them. I want this staff to have some offense to help them. I want this team to be good. I love the stadium. I love the fan base. I was passionate about it because I hate to see potential just go to waste. That's why right now I'm mad at the Baltimore Orioles. So much potential going to waste. When it came to the Mariners, this rotation, I thought, okay, young rotation, potentially best rotation in baseball, controllable. You're not paying a boatload for these guys, and you can't do anything to help them offensively. Well, the organization believed in what they had, and that is paying off. And a lot of credit is due there. And I will say, hand up, I was wrong about the Seattle Mariners. So great start for them. They're sitting in first place in the AOS, 16-5. Since that 4-8 start, they're one of a few teams that's reached the 20 win mark in all of baseball. So good for them. A lot of fun to see them playing good baseball right now. And I don't think that's why I waited. I don't see that changing. Is it going to be this good of a stretch, 16-5 in their last 21? Probably not. But the pitching will continue to get better. Julio is going to get better. Randy is going to get better. And they have a different approach at the plate. And they deserve a lot of credit for that. And I think Edgar Martinez also deserves a lot of credit for that as well. Let's talk MVPs. We're a little over a month into the year. It's now May 5th, by the way. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. It's May 5th. So why not talk MVPs? Top players in each league. We're going to start in the American League. Number 3 on the MVP list is Alex Bregman. First year with the Boston Red Sox. He's hitting .317, 8 homers, 27 RBIs. Leads the Red Sox in homers. Leads the Red Sox in RBIs. Leads the Red Sox in batting average. A traditionally slow starter with the Houston Astros through the entirety of his career has been the opposite of that. And is it a change in approach? I don't really think so. I think Alex Bregman loves hitting at Fenway Park. I think Alex Bregman is a great hitter. He just traditionally has gotten off to slow starts. He loves playing at Fenway. That's where the majority of his games are playing right now. And he's getting off to a great start. So I'm excited to see what the rest of his year looks like, because if you look at Bregman's numbers, first half, second half comparatively over the last few years, well, second half numbers are way, way better. So getting off to a good start this year, I'm excited to see where his numbers are going to end up. But first year with the Boston Red Sox, and he is absolutely killing it. Alex Bregman at 3. At number 2, I'm going to go Bobby Witt Jr. second in MVP voting last year in the American League. He's hitting 306 this year. He has 4 homers. He has 9 stolen bases. And we saw a 22 game hitting streak. Look, Joe DiMaggio, 56 games. It feels untouchable. It is one of the records when we say, what's an unbreakable, untouchable record in the game of baseball? People mention the Joe DiMaggio record. I wouldn't put that in that. I do think that record is going to get broken someday. Maybe. To me, it's not one of the untouchable ones. One of the untouchable ones are any of the Cy Young statistics, wins, losses, any of that. We're not touching those with Cy Young. Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive game played streak. That feels untouchable to me. I don't think that's happening. Anyway, regardless, Bobby Witt Jr. went on a 22 game hit streak this year. It was just snapped over the weekend, but he's still hitting 306, 4 homers, 9 stolen bases, playing a great shortstop. Bobby Witt Jr. at number 2 for me. At number 1, Aaron Judge. I don't know if everyone listening and watching right now knows exactly what Aaron Judge is doing this year, but let's talk about it. Aaron Judge, through the first 30 games of the year, hitting 412, a 1235 OPS, 83 total bases, and 47 hits. He's the 11th player in MLB history to reach those numbers in 30 games. Aaron Judge is hitting 500 against lefties this year. He's still hitting well over 400 this year. And these are the numbers that I really want to dive in on. Since 1 year ago, like yesterday, 159 games played. So basically 1 full season of games. Since 1 year ago, Aaron Judge has hit 63 homers, 159 RBIs, a 374 batting average, 788 slugging percentage, and an OPS of 1.286 over the course of that calendar year. We are legitimately talking about Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds territory. And I don't throw that out lightly. We are legitimately talking about a player, in my opinion, that is quickly becoming in the category, in the discussion with Babe Ruth and the player that I consider the greatest hitter of all time, Barry Bonds. Now, the difference, obviously, those guys did this over a longer period, right? But Aaron Judge is in that period. Aaron Judge is happening. If he does this for this year, I'm not saying hit over 400. I don't think he's going to hit 400 this year. If it gets to the All-Star break and he still is, we'll have a different discussion. I don't think he's going to hit over 400, but I think he's going to hit well over 300, and I think he might hit 60 homers. If he does this again, and then again next year, and then again the year following, we're then all of a sudden having the conversation of, well, maybe he is the greatest hitter of all time. Maybe it isn't Barry Bonds anymore. I do consider Barry Bonds the greatest hitter of all time. But if Aaron Judge is going to put up these numbers in a time that is still different, we're not talking about the Babe Ruth territory, obviously very different pitching back then. But Barry Bonds didn't see this pitching. Barry Bonds didn't see 100 every night with 3 feet of movement, bowling ball sinkers and sweepers. He didn't see the same. And I'm not comparing that. I'm not saying they're the same yet. I still consider Barry Bonds to be the greatest hitter of all time. But if Aaron Judge, over the course of a few-year period, continues to put up these numbers and continues to be in the same hemisphere as Barry Bonds, then we can have the discussion of, well, the pitching's even better now, and he's putting up these numbers. Is he better than Barry Bonds? I'm not saying that's the case yet. What I am saying is the discussion is starting. And Aaron Judge is putting himself in elite territory that has only ever been touched by the greatest hitter of all time, and Babe Ruth, who many consider the greatest baseball player of all time. In his last 162 games, not just his last 162 games, listen to this statistic. In any 162 game span, here's players that have done the following: 205 or more hits, 138 or more runs, 159 or more RBIs, and 134 or more walks. The only players that have ever done that in any 162 game span: Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams, Aaron Judge. Four. Four players to ever do that in any 162 game span at any point in their career. That's insane. Aaron Judge, obviously, number one for my pick for AL MVP. Absolutely remarkable, and I have no problem starting the conversation, just teasing the conversation, playing with the conversation of we're talking Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds territory right here with Aaron Judge. That's what's happening here. So I go in the American League: Alex Bregman, Bobby Witt Jr., and Aaron Judge. Moving on to the National League, my top three NL MVP picks. At number three, I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker, 9 homers this year, 30 RBIs this season already, hitting 292, OPS just under 1,000 on the season. Kyle Tucker killing it with his new team, the Chicago Cubs. And by the way, Cubs have been great this year. Kyle Tucker, a massive part of that, a big reason for that. Pete Crow Armstrong as well. Pete Crow Armstrong ain't far from being on this list of top 3 MVPs, by the way. He got off to a slow start, but no longer. This kid's an absolute superstar. I talked about him a lot. Obviously, gets called up last year, didn't become the player that all the hype around him for a little while. And then towards the end of the year, last month plus, absolutely tore it up. And then coming into this year, little bit of a slow start, but then really has picked it up late. So if he's going to do this all year long, we're going to be having MVP discussions with Pete Crow Armstrong here before long. I don't even know how this turned into a Pete Crow Armstrong discussion. This one was about Kyle Tucker, absolutely killing it to start the year with his new team. At number 2, I'm going to go Fernando Tatis Jr. 8 homers on the year. He's hitting .328, 8 stolen bases. He plays a Gold Glove right field. He leads the Padres, by the way, good team, leads the Padres in home runs, leads the Padres in RBIs, leads the Padres in batting average, tied for 3rd in all of Major League Baseball with a WAR of 2.1. If that means anything to you, it's really good, and that's where he is so far. So Fernando Tatis Jr. with the Padres, absolutely killing it. I say this all the time when I talk about Tatis. If you haven't gotten to see him play, if you haven't gone to see a game in San Diego, one, maybe the best ballpark to watch a baseball game. I've always said Oracle. Oracle and Petco are the best 2 ballparks in baseball. Go watch Fernando Tatis. It's like watching a performance. Like, he's an entertainer. He loves the fans. He runs out to right field. It's entertaining the way he plays. He's a superstar athlete. When you talk about athletes in the game of baseball, Fernando Tatis is right at the top of that list. We have discussions with Mookie Betts, and we know how good he is at literally everything. Fernando Tatis Jr. might just be the best athlete in the game of baseball, and he puts on a performance every time he plays. I love watching him play the game of baseball, and he's killing it to start the year. Number 1 in the National League. If you haven't heard what Pete Alonso is doing, buckle up. It's been insane. Pete Alonso has 8 homers, 31 RBIs. Pete Alonso, not known for hitting for a high batting average, is hitting .344 this season. 2nd in Major League Baseball in on-base percentage and slugging, both behind the obvious Aaron Judge. He leads the National League in batting average, on-base percentage, OPS, hits, doubles, and he has 8 homers. Pete Alonso is locked in unlike he ever has been in the entirety of his career. He always hits a lot of homers. He always drives in a lot of runs. Last year, a bit of a down year for him in terms of everything across the board. Didn't get to that RBI total he normally does. Didn't hit for a high average. Goes into the offseason as a free agent. Doesn't get the contract he wants. Ends up signing back with the Mets, which I said at the time, this offense, sure, it added Juan Soto. It needed Pete Alonso. It was a necessity to sign back Pete Alonso. They did, and now he's been the best hitter in the National League all season long to this point. Absolutely killing it at the plate and basically 2nd in everything offensively behind Aaron Judge. 1st in the National League and basically everything. Pete Alonso has been fantastic. So number 1, Pete Alonso. 2 right now, Fernando Tatis Jr., and 3, Kyle Tucker, which leads 3 in each league, who I have third in each league, Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker, former Astros. There's a discussion to be had there. Astros are now playing a little bit better baseball, but you let go two of your guys, and they go on to be MVP candidates in the other league. It's not easy. It is not an easy thing to see. And I know we discussed what the Astros don't do. They don't give out those really long contracts. And Kyle Tucker, at the end of this year, or if he gets extended this year, is due for a very long contract and a lot of money. When it comes to Alex Bregman, the Astros put their offer out on the table, and that was it. They didn't really change it. It wasn't a competitive offer. Let those guys go. Kyle Tucker gets traded, Bregman out the door, and all of a sudden these are 2 MVP candidates in each league. Kyle Tucker always is. Alex Bregman, this is the player he is if he doesn't get off to a slow start, which he has been most years. So good to see that. Probably not the most. It's got to be tough to see as an Astros fan, but definitely easier now that the team is playing a little bit better. So those are my top 3 MVP picks in each league. As you all know, Flippin' Bats is presented by FanDuel. Got a couple best bets for you. Today is Monday. Recording on Monday. This comes out a little bit later in the day on Monday. So what I have been doing is just giving a Dinger Tuesday pick. But we're going to give a Monday best bet and a Tuesday Dinger Tuesday best bet. Mondays will be the Pirates money line over the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, this is a plus money bet. It's about plus 120 on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. But here's why. Pirates are playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals have Miles Mikolas going on the bump. The Pirates absolutely rake against Miles Mikolas. Let's start with Ke'Bryan Hayes, 8 for 21. Hitting 381 with a 900 OPS. Adam Frazier, 13 for 34, 6 extra base hits, an OPS over 1,000 against Miles Mikolas. Brian Reynolds against Miles Mikolas, 14 for 39 with 5 extra base hits. These guys rake against Mikolas, and I like their chances a lot. Give me plus money with the Pirates against a pitcher they rake against with a team that's not the best team right now. I like this a lot. So give me my Monday FanDuel best bet will be Pirates money line over the Cardinals, getting plus money there. Tuesday, Dinger Tuesday. What does that mean? Well, FanDuel Sportsbook, you get a 50% profit boost token to use on anyone you like. So you like them, you like their home run, you like their number, you can boost that number 50% on Dinger Tuesday on FanDuel Sportsbook. Our pick is going to be Vladdy Jr. Heating up at the plate offensively, power-wise, heating up a little bit as well. And they face Tyler Anderson tomorrow. So the Blue Jays facing the Angels and Tyler Anderson. Vladdy Jr. is 6 for 11 with 2 extra base hits off of Tyler Anderson. So give me Vladdy Jr. on Dinger Tuesday. Give me that 50% profit boost. Today's pick, Pirates money line over the Cardinals, plus money there. Remember, must be 21 and older and present in select states or 18 and older and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. It's Monday, which means we finish every Monday episode with the power rankings that I do release every Monday morning. They are always a big talking point. One way or another, mostly another. People love to hate power rankings. Mine, I am partial to, but I think they've been the best in all of the baseball world this year. Let's talk through them, because today there's some big movement that I did want to mention. I've been higher on some teams than most people this year, and those teams might have moved a little bit more. We're just going to talk through it, and we're going to start with a team that hasn't ever been on my top 10 power rankings. Not once. They have never been on my top 10 power rankings, but here they are for the first time, the Sacramento A's. The A's are 19 and 16. They have a couple of the most underrated players in the game of baseball. By the way, can we just take a second? In the offseason, I did my bold 2025 predictions, and one of them is that The A's, the Athletics, the Sacramento Athletics, whatever we're calling them, are going to finish above 500. Well, here we are over a month into the year. They're 19 and 16. They're playing really good baseball. They have a couple of the most underrated players in baseball. Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler, Jacob Wilson has been a fantastic rookie. If you're not watching what Jacob Wilson's been doing, he's a rookie. He doesn't walk. He doesn't put the ball. He just puts the ball in play. He doesn't walk. He doesn't strike out. As of about a week ago, I'm not 100% if it's still the case, but as of about a week ago, still a month into the year, he didn't have a walk. He also didn't even have a three ball count on the entire season. The guy just swings the bat. He puts the ball in play. He's having a good year. It's been so much fun watching him as a rookie. So he's been great. Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler, two of the most underrated players in baseball. They added Luis Severino to the rotation. Mason Miller in the back end of the bullpen as well as an absolute stud. A's are 19 and 16 for the first time ever. They're in my power rankings at number 10. At number 9, I'm going with the New York Yankees, down 2 spots. Not a great week for the Yankees. Nothing to write home about. Bumped them down 2 spots. They're just right now. If you look at, obviously Aaron Judge is keeping them afloat, but that lineup is not looking pretty right now. Other than him, and maybe Cody Bellinger can start to heat up at the plate a little bit. You're still getting more out of Paul Goldschmidt than I think you thought you would, hitting well over 300. So I don't know. I wasn't super high on the Yankees coming into the year. Obviously, they're fine in the AL East. The AL East hasn't turned out to be the best division in the world, but down 2 spots, not a great week for them. At number 8, the Philadelphia Phillies, keeping them in the same spot. At number 7, up 2 spots. Talked a lot about them early in the show. The Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners are good. Hand up, was wrong about the Mariners. They've been really good. They've been middle of the pack so far, pitching team ERA, middle of the pack, which you know isn't going to be the case. That's why I did like this team to be good at all, is because of the pitching. I was frustrated with the hitting. The hitting is the reason they're here. Their offense has been incredible. They've won 8 straight series. The Mariners are good. The Mariners continue to climb up the power rankings. They're at number 7. At number 6, down 4 spots, San Francisco Giants. This is the first team that I really want to dive in on. I've had the Giants higher than most throughout the year, and this is a pretty big shift down 4 spots with them still having a really good record. Big reason for that. And they obviously won 3 of 4. It's not obvious. They won 3 of 4 on a long weekend series against the Colorado Rockies. You should win 3 of 4 or better against the Colorado Rockies, and they did do that. But earlier in the week, face a tough opponent on the road, San Diego Padres, not first real test, but it was not the first real test. I do not mean that. They went on the road and had a really tough couple series. Yankees, Phillies, all on the road, did really well there. But the hype around this Giants team has begun to build, and then you get to that 30 game mark, and you're like, okay, this team's legit, and I ranked them as that. And then they go on the road to a Padres team that's really good, and they just get their doors blown off. It was a quick series, 2-game series, but not a good look for them. Lose both of those games and then go home and play a terrible ball club, maybe the worst ball club of all time, and win 3 of 4 there. So their record on the week doesn't look terrible, right? 3 wins, 3 losses. But the losses were bad, and the 3 wins were against the worst team ever. So I bumped the Giants down 4 spots just because, look, if I'm going to rank them above where most people have them, I need to be realistic about what they are. I still think this is a good ball club. Do I now think they're a top 2 team in the game of baseball? I don't. I think the Padres, who they lost to, are in that range. We'll obviously talk about that in a second. But I did bump them down a good bit. I do feel it's deserved. It might look a little bit extreme because their record's still very good. But that series against the Padres really, really, for me, bumped them down. So Giants are at number 6. At number 5, also down 2 spots, the Detroit Tigers. Another team I want to talk about because the Tigers are still best team in the American League, in my opinion. Most wins, nasty rotation, best rotation in the American League for sure. The Tigers, here, a couple things with the Tigers. One, They go on the road, lose a series to Houston. I right around the time last week, this time that I really was blowing the Tigers up. This team, best team in the American League, best rotation in the American League, and then they go on the road to an American League team and lose two of three to the Houston Astros. So bumped them down there, and then obviously very, very good weekend series against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Put up more runs in that series than I think any series ever. I actually just wrote this down. It's right here. The Detroit Tigers scored 34 runs this weekend, the most we've had in a series since plating 37 at Houston in May of 2013. 34 runs on the weekend. So, really good weekend series. Not a great series against the Astros earlier in the week. I bumped them down two spots. Really not. This wasn't because of how poorly they did. I still think they're the best team in the American League. It's just that I had a couple of other teams lower last week than most people, and those teams are now back up a little bit higher. We'll talk about those in a second. At number 4, the Chicago Cubs, staying in the same spot. Good week for them. 2 series wins, no sweeps, 2 series wins. They look good still. At number 3, down 2 spots, New York Mets. Tough weekend series to the St. Louis Cardinals. Not a great baseball team. You lose that series. You lose both games of a doubleheader on Sunday by 1 run. Just a tough look. Juan Soto's got to get going at the plate. Though on that one of those Sunday games, it was tie ball game, couple runners on base. He hits a ball. Victor Scott the second robbed like way up and over the fence, robbing Juan Soto of a homer. Tough look there, especially when you're not thriving at the plate currently. But the Mets I had at number 1 the week prior, bumped them down 2 spots to number 3 for a tough week. At number 2, I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres. Up 4 spots from where they were when we talked about them when we did Monday's Power Rankings last week. They were on a losing streak, had a tough stretch, lost a series to the Rays, finally got a win on Sunday to break the losing streak, but I did bump them down quite a few spots to, I think they were number 6 last week. Well, they won basically every game since then. They're currently on a winning streak. They've won 5 games in a row as we speak, and they're sitting at 22 and 11. 22 and 11, great team, back up to where they belong at number 2. And at number 1, up 4 spots, the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Los Angeles Dodgers were also on a very long win streak this week. They had won 7 in a row. They did lose the Sunday night baseball game to the Atlanta Braves, but prior to that, they were averaging 9 runs per game over the course of their winning streak. 9 runs per game offensively, averaging. Offense kicked it into high gear. I know they still have their issues. They have some injuries. They have some concerns for sure. But this team that on paper is the most talented in baseball, that I was continually ranking them a little bit lower because I didn't believe they deserved to be there over the last week, though not the best opponents in the world until the Braves. Play the Marlins, wipe the floor with the Marlins as you should. Then you go on the road to Atlanta, a team playing better, a good baseball team. You win 2 of 3 there. You continue a long winning streak throughout the week until Sunday. Offense picks it up, averaging 9 runs per game with the team they do have. They have the best record in baseball at 23 and 11. Nobody has more wins than them. Los Angeles Dodgers, I have no problems now putting them back at the top of the power rankings. So this week's top 10 looks a little bit different, starting very quickly with at number 10, the Athletics. At number 9, Yankees. From there, Phillies, Mariners, Giants, Tigers, Cubs, Mets, Padres, and Dodgers rounded out. Fun show today. Really fun episode. A lot to talk about. Mostly the Mariners had a lot to talk about there. Fun week ahead in the baseball world. Some really good matchups. The Padres go to New York to take on the Yankees. Michael King is going to get a start there. His first start against the Yankees since that Juan Soto trade that had them flip-flop. Soto goes to the Yankees. Michael King goes to the Padres. He is going to be amped up. I cannot wait for that game. So that'll be a really good series there. Just a lot of good series this week. I'm excited about that. John Smoltz will be on the show in a couple of days, as he is every single week. The year of Flippin' Bats rolls on. 2025, the year of Flippin' Bats. I appreciate all of you that listen to every single episode or listen to one episode a week or listen seldomly. It doesn't matter. As long as you're listening, it means a ton. Please make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen or watch. Apple, Spotify. Hit that follow, subscribe button. Leave a 5-star review. That does really help. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, it's at Flippin' Bats Pod there. You can watch every single episode we do. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. I always hop in the comments. I love talking to you guys there. And we're on all social media at Flippin' Bats Pod anywhere. But a really fun episode, a really fun week ahead. Baseball has been rolling, and I love talking about it with you all. Thank you all. As always, we will be back in a couple days with the Hall of Famer, John Smoltz. Until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it. Flippin' Bats is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.